Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Hambbage, and we've got more hardcore vanilla Minecraft on the way. Um, yeah, sort of a semi continuation of the previous episode. Took a little break. It was wonderful. Hope you guys did as well. And we are set to bring home the bacon. Yeah, let's get to it. Slow cooked bacon. Not sure that's exactly. I think I'll stick to the ham. Thank you very much. A little bit of cabbage mixed in there. I haven't done that in a while, actually. I was just thinking that the other day. The slow cooker and I are very close friends. I do a lot of, cook a week's worth of something that can either be a side or kind of a main and then filled in with like fresh salads and stuff like that. But lots of lentils, beans, those kinds of things that typically you can get in the dry goods aisle of your supermarket, and those things are one I think they're incredible vehicles for flavor. You can do so much. Particularly, the lentils are something I'd really, I've had them out at restaurants and things like that. I'm not opposed to them at all, but really hadn't been too familiar with. They're not a staple of Midwest cooking, that's for sure. So growing up, it wasn't like, hey, you show up at the this is um, this is kind of just kind of heritage for most people that had any like small town family or anything. But the church basement potluck it's kind of a deal, right? It's these, and it doesn't have to be a church. A lot of schools and things have potlucks too. I think we all American culture have probably been familiar with the idea of a potluck. Everybody brings something to share, and by the end you have enough. Usually, whoever is coordinating it will kind of be responsible for the main dish, whatever that is, and then everybody's if it's like at a company or something, then you usually do a sign up sheet, right? And you say, so and so will bring a dessert, so and so will bring a salad, so and so will bring a side dish, and then when there's particular things, people will claim them. Well, growing up in the Midwest, it was that was definitely a thing, and it really grew out of kind of the European communities that kind of centered these homogenous small towns where most everybody was of a similar ethnic background, and this isn't like a racist thing, but in some areas it was maybe Dutch, in others it was Scandinavian. Certainly there's a large flare of that in Wisconsin. Large areas are more Eastern European, Polish, for instance. So you get lots of communities that, when 100 or so years earlier, maybe one, two, maybe three generations back, land agents had gone out, and this was kind of the way that communities became profitable. They would jumping has not improved for the break. Just there we go. Um, yeah, there would be hired representatives, kind of salespeople that would go out around cities and uh, more densely public or populated areas in Europe, and would say, hey, look at all this land. They're basically selling lots and tax revenue, right? Um, in the case of territories, the the territorial, whether it was the legislature or whatever the government was, like most had those kind of governor or whatever. The goal was to make a state out of those places here in the United States, and so they would try to get more people. That there was a threshold set that for statehood you need to have X number of voting age citizens in the territory, and so that they had to recruit or attract a sizable population to the area if those people wanted to have the additional power of being in government kind of stuff. So and some of that was very very well intentioned, and clearly they affected a population relocation. The later generations of a lot of those people are very happy residents of states within the Midwest. So to an extent it worked, but I think there was at the time a lot of shadiness and just false claims of this is a bountiful paradise, the year-round growing opportunities, and they're talking about the UP of Michigan and northern Minnesota and North Dakota, where winters are people that are in those areas come to love them, but you're not growing anything, and they're pretty brutal. Even if you come from Scandinavia, which was where a lot of those people ended up settling from, more I think further south. Don't quote me. I'm no expert, and I haven't lived there much as an adult. But obviously, there's a lot of Scandinavian pride in those areas. Think the Minnesota Vikings football team, right? That comes out of that kind of cultural pride, I guess, of people in that area, and there was enough that seemed to be a representation. So anyway, we were talking about this idea of the church basement potluck, and it doesn't have to be a church. It's not a religious thing. It's much more a community thing. But in small rural communities, there very likely was only one church, and everybody was that was where the weddings and the funerals and everything were held, and so everybody came together, and the community type organizations were these potlucks where it's small town and nobody, I would imagine, is particularly affluent. Certainly, some people are better off than others, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they would go, and so along the way, some of the regional foods, things that have now become just kind of area staples, were kind of developed, and people would there would be fierce competition among some of these you kind of think the older women of the community, right? They've been around for a long time. They've seen one another's daughters and things grow up. They're kind of past the romantic squabbles and things like that. They've kind of reached a point in their lives where none of that stuff matters anymore. But there's still a healthy sense of competition, right? So amongst their friends and all that, it kind of becomes a who can make the best bleh. And of those blehs, some of these things really became area staples that everyone is now. Maybe not so much now, since a lot of that lifestyle is shrinking, but certainly if you go to the smaller communities and things, who has the best lemon bars, which aren't particularly out there, but there would always be somebody that would have lemon bars at one of these things, and the multicolored marshmallow salad thing that would go, and in I think it's pretty ubiquitous across all the Midwest. But the casseroles and things like that, hearty meals that on a farm people would want the energy, and in the winter were warming and filling. So casseroles took on a huge part that they may not have in other places around the country. And speaking more to a more long-term and culturally inclusive legacy. I know that in some of those northern regions of the Midwest, wild rice, which was grown and cultivated by the Native Americans, and really is one of the true few truly regional agricultural products that are native to that area. Um, that has become a big staple, and wild rice soup is another thing that you can occasionally find approximations of wild rice. Here in Colorado, it's something that I certainly feel the lack of, because in the Midwest, that's something you kind of always find around. Sometimes it's cornily marketed, right? It becomes like grits in the South, or stuff like that, where you see the little displays of the comically named bags of wild rice in the airport kiosk, bookshop kind of deal, where people may just grab some. So those are all things that kind of became it. And when you signed up for a potluck, you would sometimes claim, whatever those were. And I remember more stories, and for me, it was particularly my aunt. I grew up in suburbia kind of area, and as times have changed through my life, the surge has kind of moved out. At the time I was a kid, I was kind of, it wasn't out in the sticks, but it was kind of on an outer edge of suburban expansion. When you know nowadays, if I go back to visit, it's like, oh, there's 60 miles of suburbs out in all directions beyond where I grew up. But my aunt in particular grew up in a small farm community, and so she kind of shared much of that legacy with myself, my sister, and my cousins growing up. Her background was much more that small town, kind of out in the rural communities, and so she had a lot of that to share with us, and her background was Scandinavian. So that's where I get a lot of that knowledge of my family. I think I've certainly shared. My dad is from the UK. He grew up over there, and so I on one side, I'm a first generation American, the son of an immigrant, which is awesome. It's huge perspective. Um, that makes you appreciate some of the blessings of American freedom and civics and all the rest, of being here, when you see it through the eyes of somebody who's naturalized and become a citizen. And fun fact: when I was a little kid, I also mentioned that as children, and throughout my life, I've had probably more opportunities to travel back, or my family prioritized trips to England specifically, but Europe a little more than some other luxuries, because we had family there. That becomes a pretty big priority, and we certainly, and my dad made a big sacrifice when he relocated. He knew he wouldn't be seeing his family every year, and that's a tough thing. But when I was very little, my parents went back to take both my sister and I, see the grandparents on that side, and all that fun stuff. So I have already said, maybe retain a memory here or two, and by this point in my life, they're pretty polluted, right? They're tinged by my consciousness having accessed them as an adult, and you add your impressions, so they're pretty diluted memories at this point. But what I do, whether how much of that was shaped by stories of others, or by what I have now or since tried to kind of make of them, I don't know. But it doesn't matter too much. What matters for the sake of the story is that, yeah, for a brief time as a child, I had dual citizenship. I was both a United States and United Kingdom citizen. So that's kind of cool and something I've held. Now, I didn't get to elect to really decide myself, because when we were going to the UK as very young children, we had to have passports. Even if you're a child, you have to. And I think it was kind of like a dual family thing back in the day. I mean, this is a long time ago, but I wasn't aware of any of this. But I heard the story that there was some deal, and as many people encounter, you kind of have to. These things end up as a rush when you're actually trying to do it, and my parents ended up either on the way or just before, ended up in one of the trips into Chicago, and we're attempting. Ooh, look, we got a little fire over there. Had to somehow rush the deal, and whatever the need was, or whatever the circumstances were, I don't know exactly, but there there could have been a way to keep it as a dual citizenship and still have passports and all that kind of stuff. But they, in order to get over on the trip in time, whatever was occasioning this particular visit, the passport had to be done as a rush. They couldn't do it as a dual, so it ended up, it was just like, well, my dad's like, yeah, I'm here. This is my home. That's not something that I intended. So, go USA. So the dual citizenship I had was ended fairly quickly when as a toddler I was given my first U.S. passport. Anyway, and kind of cool, but just one of those things. Okay, that's the random twists of fate that in order to get that for a trip, you gotta, those decisions kind of get set. But what all that was kind of coming out was lentils and slow cooking, and the idea that it's fun to come to foods later in life that you're not, aren't necessarily a part of the ones that are your childhood or your local heritage. And, I think there's probably a lot of people that like, man, I've been eating that all my life. Just give me, a tater tot casserole or something. I would love that. That's why don't you eat this every day? So I think it just depends on your background and kind of your own experience. What seems like a treat? What seems like just a boring. Is there somebody coming to get me, or are you just underground? As long as you're just underground, I'm cool. So yeah, that's a food story. Did we get on? I think we'd already started after the bacon thing, right? Or did that? Maybe that just came out of the bacon. Maybe we got going and just talked about slow cooking bacon and how that was it. Can you tell it's maybe getting? It's not even yet. I shouldn't even say that, but it's all this is making me think of lunchtime. I'll say that much. How about that? Let's go here. It's probably way more than we need, but yeah. So so getting back to that, I've kind of thought this is something I've long thought about with the YouTube channel, and don't know exactly. Oh, we should do flowers while we're here, because we need those. Maybe we can just create chickens in the world too. Oh man, gonna drive me bonkers. Why not? Let's grow a little oak tree. Then we can really feel like Johnny Appleseed. We don't need these, but we'll probably get more as we come around bashing, so we'll just drop them over. So yeah, we'll get some flowers here. But yeah, one of the things I kind of thought about, and it's something I've grown into, and I don't necessarily want it to dominate my Hambbage Minecraft streams and all that, but I also don't want to necessarily hide it away under a different account, because I think, particularly for folks that play a lot of games, and particularly for people that maybe haven't gotten there yet, it's kind of important to see in a lighthearted kind of, I don't have all the answers way, but that as you go through life, some of the stuff that maybe just seems like, oh yeah, no big deal as I'm playing games, and in college, before, after, some of those kind of habits and things that we pick up, they're things that you want to be aware of through life. You want to make good food and lifestyle choices as you go, so that you don't have problems later. And I am in pretty good health, really. Corona pandemic quarantining stuff being what it was, I like so many others, was probably a little more sedentary than I needed to be, and have got a few extra pounds. But all in all, I'm in pretty good shape. But there comes a point in most people's lives where you kind of get that talk at a check-in with a doctor that's like, right, you need to make some changes in your life. You can't just keep doing what you're doing and expect to be healthy. And so I did that, and I went through a lot of it, and that's something I think a lot of people could use just some kind of chill talk on, and examples, and the Hambbage, slow cooking, all that kind of stuff is a part of that. I started a lot of that when I began to realize how bad oversaturating yourself with bread and carbs and some of that kind of stuff that's so easy for us to do. And sugar, don't get me started on sugar, because it's in everything that we eat. It's so pervasive, and maybe there's more education about all that kind of stuff nowadays. I doubt it. I think there was probably just as much when I was a kid, but you're seeing Mountain Dew ads and all that kind of stuff, and it really doesn't have a huge impact, because you're young and you're going to live forever, right? But as a guy who's never been married, and is pretty okay with that. I live a fun, active life, and not, no complaints, and no real dissatisfaction. But it's real easy when you're doing that, and you're living on your own, you're not cooking for an entire family kind of stuff, to get into a routine of, you eat out a lot, maybe you stop at a drive-through for some fast food, and you don't do that all the time. I think even the least health conscious of us understand that there's a cost to just doing that. But so then you come home, and maybe at one point in your life there's a lot of frozen pizzas, and the various, Stouffer's meals, all that frozen food prepared, pre-made meals that you just throw in the microwave and cook up. That stuff's convenient, and it for better or worse, kind of gives you a better sense of nutrition, and you're balancing things out as you go, than just straight up drive through fast food. But I was until probably out of my 20s, I was kind of blissfully ignorant of how close to fast food and some of those kind of things that those frozen type meals can be, even when they're supplementing stuff. So then you decide, hey, I'm gonna start making some better food choices, and I would do a lot of like rice and veggies. It's fairly cost effective. You're getting either fresh or frozen vegetables in the mix there. Not a lot of oils. No, we've already been there. Not a lot of saturated fats or anything like that. So you're doing pretty good there. Well, then you realize that the carbs that come along with some of our most traditional filling foods, and whether that's potatoes or rice or bread. Wheat gets a horrible name these days because everybody wants to, I'm anti-gluten and all that. I'm not anti-bread. I'm not anti-any food. I think having a mixed and very moderate diet throughout your life will make sure that you never have complications that you have to deal with as a result. But when when as so many people in America, you find, hey, I could drop 20 pounds, something like that, and sometimes it's a lot more than that. When you become aware that some of the things that you think you're eating to be healthy are actually just as counterproductive, you have to be aware. So I really had to go through quite a transition to that, and just I already talk a lot about the breaks. I'm not going to stop that. Becoming aware of not just how important it is to work out, and really, the working out part can sometimes be your worst enemy. If you're really not in shape, if you've been fairly sedentary, and for me, it was more actually work than games or anything like that. Although, I didn't do myself any favors, I'll be the first to admit. But when if you're doing well and you got a tech type job and you're working in an office, if those start turning into 8, 9, 10-hour days where you eat lunch at your desk and are you're career focused, you're doing well. You're not just slacking off or being lazy, but in the course of working hard and prioritizing some things, you really, it's easy to neglect and forget about your own health, and it's the mobility stuff that you begin to lose track of. And I know corporations spend amazing amounts of money trying to educate their employees that you need to keep moving. If you work at a computer job, the evidence has been there well before computers, because there were typewriters and things like that. So, and people that used to work on bookkeeping and things like that over paper, a lot of those kind of jobs, people have known for a long time how consequential just sitting for hours at a time can be for people. That's not real ideal. So you do want to be aware, and companies want in today's culture, a lot of people think, oh, the big bad corporation, they're stealing all the money. Well, that's not new. That angle of thinking has been around for a long time. Think 105 years ago in Russia, there was a, a significant move to take out the big bad, industrialists and people that were running the corporations. So it's not new to that this debate goes back and forth about where things should be concentrated. Who should have direction. As long as you're aware that there's sides and there's reasons why those people are pushing a particular line of thought. It's not all just because it's big and bad on one side. Maybe sometimes the other side wants a little piece of that. So anyway, I'm just trying to get on a rant there. All I'm saying is that in today's day and age, when Wall Street and some of the bad actors of the banking and finance industry in large part, but lots of different industries have had their issues over the way, and sometimes companies get painted as villains. They're hardly, they're not people, so they kind of fit into that mentality of being heartless and non-human, obviously. But in a lot of places they begin to take on rights of humans and some of the roles and responsibilities that go into that. So I don't know. It's something to be aware of, but they do want they want their employees to be productive, and long term productive employees are actually the ones that instead of just sitting and staring at a computer monitor for 10 hours a day, get up, move around, all that kind of stuff. So they actually spend a lot of time teaching people and reminding people that, hey, have a wellness program or get up, do those kind of things in the middle of the day. And people are much more supportive than you may think of those kinds of activities. However, and this is what I fell into quite a bit. When you're working at a big company, no matter who says that, your boss is gonna know, yeah, you can take a full lunch. Nobody's gonna tell you can't. But if if you use that time to get up and walk around and go outside and take a good brisk walk, you're gonna feel better. You probably will be more productive when you come back. But if you stay at your desk and bring something along with you to eat quickly and keep plugging away, that gets noticed and appreciated. And more importantly, for me, as I've said many times, my work has mostly been remote from co-workers and managers and stuff. I may work in the office of a bigger company and have a lot of people that work for the same company there, but those people aren't on my team. They're not doing the same thing I am. And so my manager may not know whether or not I'm there. But what my manager will know is every time he hits me in instant messenger or in less, but if there's emails that come through that are urgent, or if my phone rings, I'm right there. There's no no disconnect or gap. I'm there, and I'm not in my car. I can speak to it right away. Hey, yeah, I'm ready to handle that. Whatever you need. And that's a big part of getting ahead in a profession of any kind. Is being that accountability. I've talked about it before with being on call. You don't sleep in. Don't allow yourself to be in the position where you can sleep in and miss a page or not hear it or anything like that. Just take that and own it. Well, it's two double-edged, right? Like so many other things in life. If you do that, you're becoming, but you've got to then balance and make sure that you take care of your health. I didn't do that at all. I was kind of locked in, and it reflected. I did very well at my job. I moved ahead and got more responsibilities, and that led to more time, more accountability, and more extra projects and things after. So, then somewhere along the way, I'm working from home again, well before pandemic time, and And now you don't even have the remote. Hey, I'm at home. I drove home, and I'm going to do something different. You just, and you kind of, if you're after hours, maybe you're not working as hard, but you're still just, it's almost like a game. You're constantly watching for those updates on the, alerts, issues pages, lending a hand to coworkers, maybe new ones or something. Kind of being a little more mentory. So all those things can kind of suck you into a I can't detach mode. It's, I wouldn't go so far as to say addiction. It's easy enough to make the decision not to keep doing that or keep pushing as hard, but because you're adding value, because you're helping out, and it's it's important work in many respects. You're not going to want to hold back, and other people aren't going to want to hold you back. And yeah, they're talking about, hey, are you taking care of yourself? Make sure to do that. Take a vacation. But oh, really? Because every day that I'm not on vacation, there's plenty for me to do here. It's still piling up, and it can be very hard to disconnect. So when I know that streamers will hey, I've streamed 80 hours this week, and it's like, yeah, I get it. You enjoy the games, you enjoy the feedback and the attention. It all kind of feeds into each other. You also got to be aware that you need those breaks much more than you need the extra 5 people that may see you if you keep streaming for 14 hours nonstop and never get up, or worry that if you take 20 minutes away to go walk around the block, and get some fresh air and be outside, even in the midst of that somebody may see that be right back screen and not stop. And that's dangerous. Don't let yourself get into that situation at all. So, sorry, that's kind of wide ranging and a little bit rambly and all that, but I do think it's important, just to mention, and I'd like to do some degree more of that. I'd like to have some kind of an outlet where I can kind of talk about that. Maybe do some live, out on a walk type stuff, or cooking, a little bit of cooking stuff. Here's the mad scientist creation I'm gonna put together in my crock pot, and kind of show here's the ingredients going in, and here's then the cooking magic, right? Here's now I've recorded a few episodes of Minecraft, and insto presto, here it is, all thickened up and cooked down and all the rest. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna set up bees, or get close to it. How are we doing on this episode? I've totally lost all track of time. 40 minutes in. Oh, thanks, Microsoft. I know I haven't signed up my account or linked it or whatever. We need shovels. Boom. Oh. More digging. Just what you guys wanted. We didn't make it back to spawn, but we did. To be fair, we did walk around on the continent. We'll make our progress. I don't think we need this at the moment. We definitely don't need to carry around one stick or a bunch of iron. Probably won't need that. Really won't need those for a bit, but we're gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna get to drink some more coffee. Interestingly enough, and this could have disastrous results. In fact, hang on a second. Let me fix this. I just flipped around my headset. I was drinking my coffee, like, interestingly enough, I'm wearing my headset backwards. And then I was like, That means that the directional audio is going to be reversed. That could be funny. Wait, do I really want funny, or do I want to just fix this? So I fixed it. Now my mic is over on my right ear, and the channel should be direct. So if I hear a zombie or the footsteps of a creeper or anything like that, we'll hopefully be able to deal with it. Now we need to, unfortunately, dig up a lot of this because my bees do want their space. And our little tree here is going to have to go. We've been saving it, but tree, you're going to go to a better place. And your previous home will become the romping grounds of many a young bee. And that's a fitting tribute. So, yeah, we lose a little bit of the feature of this area, but this is going to become activity jammed coolness. So, I really think we'll keep pushing all the way out to there, but for the moment, and just to try to get the actual structure up, we'll limit ourselves a little bit. So what are we going to do? We're going to build a row of support structure for initially bee nests, and then filling those in with the bee houses, houses, something that we can construct. And again, I think we were either on the brink of doing this or had done some of it in World 2. And it's been a long time since I loaded those videos. I apologize. Some of these things do kind of get vague when you played a lot of worlds before the ones you've recorded, and then have a few different worlds. It gets tough to tell apart what happened in which ones and what have you actually covered or not. So I don't remember if I already showed off the format of our bees before or not, but hopefully by the time we're through here, we'll have the beginning of a thriving bee community. And as I know I've said before, the bees function a little bit like bone meal on your crops. They will. Oh, we will want to flip our crops at some point too. I guess maybe I should. When we're full up on inventory or something, we'll switch. Go do our crops, because if we're gonna be right here, get it, bee. That was terrible. If we're gonna be working right here, let's just might as well get the benefit to our crops and let them grow again. So again, I'm not even though we've now got the silk touch, because we haven't set up the villagers yet, we're not gonna worry yet about harvesting the melons. I don't just want to completely use up my silk touch axe in one go. It's got a little durability, but it won't last forever. And while a stock of melons would be nice, we can use all our various produce to get emeralds. And as I said, just being able to potentially find other bees out in our wanderings is a good bonus and a good use of that silk touch until we get it, because we'd like to have a lot of bees, and we may find we overdo it and it gets a little laggy. It's all right. I really haven't noticed too much because of the bees. But then again, I haven't seen it, and you guys will see why it. Bees, like with everything else, kind of reach a tipping point pretty quickly. you want them to help the crops and keep everything growing, and then pretty suddenly you have more emeralds than you need, and until you really get back to where you're doing projects and need to buy a lot of resources off of villagers. Once you have all the books you need, and everything's max enchanted, your fields kind of get to that point where they're all mature, and you just kind of leave them. And usually, around by that point, I'll have plenty of bees. All the honey I could really need, and it's good. Now, here I may be tempted to go all the way to the max, just so I can have it kind of full and vibrant, and we can maybe do a bee featured video and have that maybe attract some attention that way to the channel. But who knows? We may also get enough and reach that point and just kind of leave them partially populated, because a lot of that is dependent on breeding enough bees and building more houses and all the rest of it. So the building of the structures I will probably push through very quickly, usually well before I'm done with the trading and stuff. At least the bee houses, the ones that we can make, will have plenty of resource for, so we'll finish those up fairly quickly. But as we said, I hadn't really wanted to get quite as chore heavy right away, but this will be okay. We'll endure, and it'll be worth it, I think, to have bees started and going, and then once they're up a little bit, it's something you can kind of expand and pay attention to here and there. Just when you got an impulse, and it doesn't become overwhelming or anything like that. So we'll see. Okay, again, get those. Is definitely a bunch of random stuff. Let's put this here. We're not going to need it for a little bit. I'm coming to realize we got a lot of prep work to do before we really get into the construction of the bee habitat itself. So, all right, put those away. Take these over to the chickens. I hope our sugar keeps growing there. So crops next, and let's start with our beets, and then I think potatoes after those are the two that we need the most help to complete. Our wheat, as we can see on this full tour, is fully done and ready. I think all these should be, maybe one or two just random slow plants, but even those, it looks like we're now well filled in. So by the time we turn this, everything should be set to grow again. And while we work on the bees, it probably won't go all the way, but we'll get our next batch well on the way, and then by that point we're kind of equipped. We'll eventually have to get our villager outpost going, and there's our torches to make this all work. Get our mending books and finish out the enchanting that we started in the last episode. So everything does keep moving along, even though I'm kind of in the spirit of the slow cooker, slow playing to the extent that I can. Everything positive that we do makes more progress in the world and draws us ever closer. So just having the the few enchantments that we got helps us get the bees. The bees help our crops grow faster. Our crops are growing while we're working, and having all of their produce helps us get closer to more emeralds. That sets up our gear to make it top level. And now that we have diamonds, we can cross that off the list. We're getting very close to being ready to diving back into the Nether. Again, we're episodes ahead in count of where we'd been with. We'll do one run down. Oh, whoa! Hit a little skid there, I guess. A little ice patch on the road. We have already recorded far more episodes than what we had in season 2, which was our previous longest world. So we're already beyond, in season length where we'd been, but we're still, depending on what your measurables are, we're behind where we'd been in World 2. 16 or 17 episodes in that one, and I think 18 was the earlier one today. It's actually loading now while we're playing. So, we're moving forward, but in that one, we ultimately died in the Nether. We'd just gotten there and fell into some lava, after I talked about how not to fall into lava. Oops. But yeah, we'd already by this point had a fully going village or outpost, and so we had mending. We had I don't think did we ever get efficiency 5? I think we finally did, right? So we had all the tool and max enchants. We had sharpness and protection top level and all those. We could basically buy most anything that we needed, and we're kind of down to the one-off tiered enchantments remaining. Like we would have needed loyalty 3 and some of those kind of things that we would only use once or twice, so they weren't pressing needs or would need later in the game. The fishing pool top level stuff, all those kind of things that, yeah, they're nice to have, but they're not going to really affect your progress in the game. So in that sense, we'd done quite a bit, but in the sense of we were living in 4 walls of a prairie. we had some windows. I mean, not that our tower is a whole lot better, but our fields were pretty ugly because they were. We're not done yet. They were basically just the rock rubble that we'd dug up from the ground, so they had no real appeal. I'm much happier with the sandstone stuff. We've already got all the wood types. We got bamboo and sugar. We had a much bigger sugar farm going on the other one. I think we'd at least gotten some bees with that silk axe, or knew of their locations and were ready to. Again, I don't know why that just escapes me. I think it really, if you asked me to lock in a guess, I would say that it was because we had the silk touch axe, we were ready to, but we decided to go into the Nether first, and never really got around to fulfilling those plans. I mean, I can picture where we were going to put them and everything on kind of that plain donkey bluff or mound. Again, a lot of stuff got named donkey in that one because that was part of why we stopped. We were on a large landmass in the middle of a bay, and there were donkeys, and it gave me a chance to talk about why I thought donkeys were great Minecraft animals. They can have chests and carry you around to ride on, and can breed with horses to make mules, all that good stuff. So we, because there were donkeys there, we stopped, and we had all the other animals we needed, and ended up working well. I remember all that. Because I don't have anything clearly defined as working on the bees there, I'm guessing, I had intentions. I'd thought it through, and, this is where they're going to go, but I don't think we ever did anything. So, barring the same catastrophe, we'll do that here. But, again, we've kind of prioritized a few different things in this world than what we'd had in the last, and I'm actually really happy with that. I think that that the world we've got coming together here is cool. And of course, we had discovered an abandoned mine shaft in that world, but hadn't had the number of cave spiders to deal with, and hadn't done much of any exploring in it. Most of our efforts for diamonds had just been in tunnels, so we've done a lot more underground kind of adventuring stuff, and I think that's added more balance, right? We've had a lot more adventures. We've done a lot more of the ships and various villages around. So everything's a pro and a con, and how it plays out. Con so much, but it's just different types of content, and this world has felt a little more homey than I even really initially expected. We made that first base camp, and I was kind of like, well, we've got a bed. We don't need. I really wanted to avoid the just four walls and with some windows, sitting out in the middle, and said, oh, well, we'll just work from our bed with a few chests, and then kind of was like, man, we got so much desert ground. Let's just do this fortress thing. The shape of the land we're on made that appealing to me, and I kind of ran with it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I hope having kind of things tied together and looking consistent is a worthwhile endeavor in your guys' eyes. And certainly, I'm trying to keep adventure mixed in throughout. And really, as I'd said, the intent starting today's sessions was to first dive into, as I tilt my head to the right, I can't really look away as I'm planting all these seeds, but underneath our bamboo, we knew there was a hole, and I didn't want to fall into it. So I'd kind of said along the way, man, I got to get back and deal with this hole. So I decided to do that. Well, it had a ravine. We had a lot of fun playing in that earlier today. At least I did. Okay, we still need pumpkins. Last thing. And in the course of the ravine, we got enough levels. Was that the trigger? I think that was it. Whoa, who knew I was going to get one level just working in a ravine, and now I'm at 50, so let's enchant stuff. So we did all that, got some good enchantments, led Silk Touch, got the bees, and you guys joined us as we were getting acacia wood to build up our bee structure. So a little bit of a recap there. We'll flip these, we'll finish up the bees. Hopefully this episode will wrap that up, and I think I'm going to try to squeeze in one more today. I've got some plans later in the day. As I said, it's gorgeous out today. Just perfect. And I did, for those who are worried, I did take my allergy pill earlier today. So hopefully I'm not in the same state, 2 days later when everything it's already, it already seems dry out. And I haven't been like out trudging through fields or anything. I've just been walking on sidewalks, but all those were even dry last evening. So out here, the rain that we do get gets sucked back up quickly. All right, awesome stuff. We're close enough here that by the time we go take this over to our cow bins. Man, I really meant to dump the dirt that we had got in that spare bee chest. Oh well. Okay, we got, keep dumping a little bit for your cows. You don't want to end up trading away all your surplus and then find you have nothing to feed your cows. Well, fine then. We'll move the bed down here, closer to where we're going to work. Okay, so project's pretty clear here, but we've gotten good progress on it. Let's just drop these axes together. We shouldn't need much more axe work. Maybe, well, actually, yeah, significantly a piece of it. But that will come later. So what are we trying to set up here? Well, we want bees need two things to be productive for you. Oh, three, I guess. So wherever their homes are when you relocate them, they need to have clear access in and out of them. I believe they have to be clear below. For harvesting and stuff, they have to be clear below, and I think for their access. And I'm not sure, but I think they need at least two sides open for them to get in and out. And maybe one of those has to be the little honey drippy side. Not certain on all that. I'm just kind of guessing from my own experience. Now, before anyone riots or comes out, I think we gotta... Well, let's leave the in-between part. Where is our actual field starting point? It's here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's go down the sides first. The one immediately to my left, where I put that first hole, that's going to be where our hives actually sit. They're going to be in that row. But I do want to ring all of these with stone that I can leave. And I think that's going to just be the regular sandstone. It doesn't need to be fancy, just like, like some of our base of our fort and some of those kind of things. It doesn't have to be pretending to be anything it's not. It's okay just being sandstone. It's not a finished building product. It's just there. So now we'll go out one. And now the spacing is what's gonna, kind of get to me, because I don't do bees enough to have, the torches. I may not place them accurately, and creepers may try to come and get me in the middle of it. But I have an idea at least of what they should do, the spacing and all that. The bees, less so. So I think what we'll try to do is plot these. Oh man, I didn't, because the other one I went out one more, right? This is how you get everything off center. Okay, so let's start with, let's get all this too, just because we can. Why not? Let's start with our framing sandstone. Now this time I'm actually gonna, let's dump everything we don't need. We'll sort it out later. Let's just sand. You can keep the flint. Back over here. Now if I find out, oh yeah, I don't have any sandstone, that would be... Oh man! Wait, no, this is smooth. I really want that for the walls. Are you guys gonna kill me? Don't kill me. I'm not doing this to punish anyone. It's more of a troll to me than to you guys, I think. Oh man. Alright. Where is... No. So frustrating. I still got some podzol. I don't need those at all. I need these. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Savvy viewers know why I'm hemming and hawing and fuming. We gotta do it. And I'm sorry. It's not... This is how the progress gets made. And, you can never have enough of these kind of things. And this is number one reason why we're moving slower in terms of nether and some of that kind of content, which again, never been my intent. I'm not trying to race anybody or trying to get to any particular content before the others. I'm enjoying being in this world and will move when it makes sense. But yeah, choosing sandstone has an implication, and that's another push that at some point here I'm going to be reinforcing that we'll need long ventures because there's a specific biome with specific building materials that we haven't even seen in any of our worlds yet, and I want some of that before all is said and done. Would add a whole similar unified color palette to what we're already doing with our sand and sandstone and some of that kind of stuff. And if we can track it down, all kinds of adventure and fun await. One of the more recent, but one of my favorite biomes, and just love it. I think we're fully equipped where that would be good. And again, may push back any nether end content a while, but I would accept that. I am cautiously confident that no matter what, when we get back to the nether, if we're try to be safe, and if I don't do anything stupid, and we're not just horribly unlucky, we can survive most things. We were right on the brink of being in great shape there. We'd already made a little safety wall, so our portal wouldn't get broken by any ghasts. We could get back out if we needed to, and it was just in the course of kind of clearing up the space below us that we took an unfortunate dip. But yeah, and with our new respiration fire prot helmet, we're even better off. So. Now, I guess, in talking about the enchanting in the last episode, again, respiration, I'm not going to complain about a thing. I'm very happy to have that at this point. If time requires it, or, circumstances, we may end up switching that, or, making a new helmet and re-rolling it all out to get full enchantments. It will really depend on how many, and we've talked about enchanting weight, what the weight is or what I currently have. Because helmets, swords, boots, are kind of the big hitters when it comes to the number of enchantments that you can put on them. They have a lot of secondary things that other pieces of gear don't have, and so you do run the risk of, if you have to combine things. So with Fire Prot 3, if we put another Fire Prot 3 on, that would bring it up to Fire Prot 4. Makes sense? If we are rolling for books and I think Fire Prot goes all the way up to 5, if I'm not mistaken. You can only find it as a 4, but you can push it up, and maybe the librarian sells it as a 5. It's possible. Got time. So, in theory, if that's our Fire Prot piece, and we're gonna take that into the Nether, then we want to have it full Fire Prot. If you're gonna have it all the way up and maxed out. But in getting it up to that level, it may block other enchantments, and so we may need to build a new helmet at some point in the game. Long term, but I don't know. You kind of don't know. It's a bummer if you get to that point where you're like, oh, I no longer have enough enchantment levels, or it says too expensive. There's no way that you can put on that last enchantment, whatever it is. And I think by having to build up the levels of fire protection, that may be impossible on this helmet. So but that's okay. It'll help us a huge amount in this phase of the game. So no regrets, no ill will. We want to be a little careful around this hole. In that as we clear things, we don't want and let's just drop what sand we can, because we would rather know in advance where the overhangs are than get pulled down into them. As you guys can see, I'm more focused on just sand. That's fine. As everyone knows, we can merge the sand. Or you may not. You may be new, not have seen it, but you can stack up, or kind of just hold it in your hands and crush it with superhuman strength, and actually create a product of millions of years of buried under the earth pressure. You can do it instantly, because that's the power of me in Minecraft. But yeah, you can just put 4 stacks of sand together and come up with sandstone, which is nice. So I didn't come here going, oh, I've got to have one or the other. And with this much, we'll certainly get enough sandstone to frame our little bee area. So should be good. Again, with our quarry, we'll just keep kind of pushing and spreading a little bit here, till we either meet our needs or run out of real estate. I don't know yet how I just exactly intend to handle going down deep, and how far the sandstone will actually go. And we talked about kind of doing a good corporate citizen reclamation, where when we're done, we'll have to spread some sand over the exposed rock and all that, whatever we've got, and kind of in the real world, it's kind of like making parks out of reclaimed strip mine areas, and it doesn't fully mask what's been done, but a lot of times those will, when not constantly pumped, they will very quickly refill to a level with water, so you get a lake. And while it may not be a great fishing lake, maybe good for water skiing, those kinds of water sports stuff. It may just be a nice place to camp and attract in some wildlife. I think different areas have prioritized those spaces differently, but yeah, we'll do something along those lines. But it's kind of a reality of our world that sometimes very natural looking places, which is what this was when we started, will get transformed a little bit, show the presence of man. And we're not trying to be just ugly about it, but we can't slow progress. The engine of progress in our world is unquenchable. Let's just go ahead and get these combined. We'll see if we end up needing to drop the stick or not, as we use up this little shovel. As you may have guessed, I'm kind of okay with just taking down a lot of this. Maybe we'll see if we remember when we get done, but maybe we'll just kind of make this. I may push that back a little bit, but kind of make a hill here become a boundary, and we can work in the middle here so that on the coast it stays up a little bit, and we don't just see a big hole as we boat by. We'll obviously have our access point there, but I think maybe that's a good idea. Leave an edge and just kind of come through, because we got all this area in between. That way the village, we'll leave those two hills over there and just kind of work in between these and keep Minecraftia beautiful, right? Slow cookeria. I guess it's not really Minecraftia. We named the world slow cooker. Keep slow cooker beautiful. Sometimes you gotta scrub it out, and get done using it, but that doesn't mean you don't get it dirty while you're making something good. Am I pushing this too far? Maybe. the analogy has gotten tired. But I think the good news is, a little bit of digging aside, we should have plenty, and we're gonna get our bees. There's no stopping us. Ooh, got another little cave though. Again, it's so wacky. What or why or how some sand decides to fall in Minecraft and other sand is just like, I'm hanging here. Well, still got room. I'm just going to use up the shovel, I guess. Just think, with today's developments, and not this video's, but with the previous one, we're that much closer. Someday we'll be coming in here with high efficiency and mending, and we'll just mow down sand. It'll be like, what? How do we ever fill up our inventory before we even know it? But then we'll have shulker boxes, so we'll be able to dig up even more. It'll be wonderful and terrible at the same time. So I think we won't need to worry about going deep here. I don't think we'll go any deeper. Let's try to remember that, because who knows when we'll next be back here. But let's maybe keep a little lip, again, so that when we're at boat height, we're not looking down into a big hole. But all this stuff will eventually be fair game. But I would like to kind of push back a little bit, make a big area, and then go, so we don't just have to navigate around a big hole. But yeah, mission accomplished. Off we go. So we're gonna frame the big oval of hole that I just picked or dug, and fill that with regular sandstone. So we'll have a nice little floor, the same as around our fields and everything, all unified, looking good. We'll probably use the smooth for a few posts for our bees, and then we're going to use the acacia wood that we gathered for the support structure. And then I'll show how our new bee friends will have their homes. So first thing, why are we still getting chicken eggs when all the chickens should be secure inside? That's weird. Sandstone, and sandstone. Okay. Now, like I said, plenty to fill our hole, and we should, if we just go, we should be able to get around this before we have to sleep. We'll see. I'm starting on this side because I know that there's where we took out that gravel right here, which it's really our only place of potential trouble. Otherwise, it's just, you kind of funneled. It's like those antique cars at the amusement park that probably most people are those even still a thing? Probably, right? For little kids, kind of, it's like Grandma and Grandpa weren't going to go tearing around on the roller coaster. They take the little kid and go ride the antique cars that kind of backfire a lot. They all look like Model Ts or Model As or whatever, and go real slow, but they have a metal track down the middle of the road, so you kind of gotta drive them a little bit, but you can't ever just go tearing off across the property, right? You're confined, and you can never get turned around and go the wrong way, or like eventually you may wear the tires a little bit, but you're gonna come back around to where you're supposed to be. So now we've got our framework here. What do we need to do next? Well, the next thing is we're going to empty out this hole now that we've got now that we don't have any shovels. We're gonna do some digging. Yeah. But we're gonna empty out that little core, and then we're gonna try to play with spacing. That'll be entertaining. But yeah, we're gonna get things kind of aligned. See just what the space that we've got left here. We'll make 3. Yeah, with that available space, what fits best and looks good and balanced and not just terrible. So we're gonna keep all these. Let's just dump this random sand. We don't need it. So next up here, we do our digging and our rock removal in our central area. Here we go. Very exciting. You guys aren't even really left to wonder if I'll get... It's very much now like the antique cars. You don't even have to wonder if I'm going to go off track. Speaking of which, and I know it's not the same. This is a little bit of a jump, but thinking back to the antique cars, which I certainly drove around on as a kid, it always reminds me of the absolute classic Steve Martin movie, The Jerk. And I don't know if anybody watches that these days that didn't grow up with it, right? I know it's still popular. In fact, well, Dirty Round Scoundrels showed up on Netflix or Amazon or one of those. For whatever reason, apparently this is comedy month. A bunch of the old school classic comedies are showing up. I think What About Bob is going right now, another great one. So, what I don't want is to have anything right in the middle, because this is an evenly balanced space, right? And instead, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And now this is what I don't know on the spacing. So if we then go, because 5 is kind of my preference. So if we then go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I do that? Yeah. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, some of you math whizzes are probably like, dude, this is obviously gonna turn out this way. I like to just kind of go with the experience. Well, this will be eclectic, but maybe that'll work. This is different than I've really laid them out before. Or are we better going? Let's just keep playing around a little bit before we decide on anything, because the 4 may get annoying. So now that makes that 4, 5, 6. This would be if we just keep everything the same. 2, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so maybe all 6s. How does that work? Now, am I missing anything? Again, just worth a little bit of planning time to make sure everything lines up before you put a ton of... Whoa! Okay. Oh, now I don't have a shield. Oh, hold on. And these are the one guys that kind of would most warrant that. Oh, boy. Okay. Anybody got enchanted bows? I don't think so. Well, they should, as we've talked about in the past. Some of them will shoot each other, which is kind of cool. And we can also kind of just dance around a tree, right? And that also helps keep them shooting one another. Okay, so now what I didn't see was the... Ooh, there's a crossbow. Oh, wait. Got a crossbow. Probably... Oh, not actually, it's in pretty good shape. That's pretty impressive. You can craft crossbows. I'm not a huge fan, but I am curious what happened? We never got a banner? Did they never have the leader guy? Sometimes they'll shoot him themselves and make it so we don't get the curse. And we've had that happen, I think, where we've gotten the banner and not... There's a drown. Let's go kill a drown, too. Why not, huh? Man, he's a long way away. If this isn't a drown... where did he go? Did you guys see the drown? I hear him now. Oh, there you are. Hey, buddy. So, hey, how about you drop some gold? Nope. Well, it was worth a try. Maybe I should be waiting on the looting for that. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing any of that. Unreasonable expectations. Holding them to too high a standard. Still got some daylight left. birch leaves are weird there. Okay, so we can finish laying this out. I think, as long as we haven't goofed, the sixes will work out pretty well. So 3, 3, boom. 3, 3, boom. 3, 3, boom. 3, 3, boom. Right? Boom. Just double check. Measure twice, cut once. Boom. Perfect. I think this stretch is going to be eventually done up in sandstone. Maybe we'll do a pattern or something into it eventually, but now that I mentioned that other biome, kind of thinking how much I'd really like to have that as this is evolving. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go up on each of these two, and it's nice having this hill here. Usually I've leveled more completely, and each time I'm taking damage or trying to lay everything out in between. Oh, it's gonna be so good to have bees again. Oh, here we'll get to fall in the hole. Am I going up high enough? Do I need to go up one more? I need to go up one more, don't I? Oh man. Whoa. Don't push W instead of space. Yeah, I need a one more full thing of height. Oh, silly. That's probably why it doesn't usually matter. Okay, since we know that, let's go ahead and go get our other materials. Should have emptied that junk chest while I was at it, but we've still got a lot more landscaping stuff to do around here. It's only the structure of the bees is only the beginning of the bees, people. Bees may be in need of a house, but they need so much more than that to be happy, fulfilled bees. We want to give them a happy and bee-fulfilled life. So, do that. It's good to have that crossbow, though. Projectile arrow? Is that new? I mean, it can't be that new, right? I don't shoot crossbows a whole lot, but I don't recall the projectile thing. Is that built around future shooting of other stuff? I know there's different types of arrows. Maybe that's, maybe we don't have any yet, but there's like spectral arrows and things like that. Maybe it's the different tipped arrows. Anyway, I'm rambling, and we need to keep pushing our bees. How are we doing on time? Got a half hour. Business, guys. I don't know if I did that in the right order at all. I'm like, okay, I gotta get back to the beam. I gotta lift my mic, drink some coffee. We'll manage. All right. So now, let's see what beasties we have to deal with. Oh, this time none, huh? I guess they decided that my swift and entirely competent display on those pillagers was sufficient to scare anybody else off. Alright, this is going to be a true feat of parkour wonder. You guys are going to be so amazed. Oh yeah, first try. Now, I was going to do all that. Half hour's getting delicate. Gotta go. I can sometimes be such a silly head. Oh, that was Sandstone, sandstone. Say that a lot. Tongue twister tongue. Yeah, I decided to do the post. I don't think I said anything about it, but just to coordinate better with the fields, I decided to do. It's not a pick. These smooth. I think I'll leave those as is. Oh man, I don't know. Let's get them all swapped to here. Oh. And then come on. Then we'll go across the top. We'll be able to build our way up and across. But that won't. I don't think you can reach down as far as I need to if we got all the way up to the top and then tried to navigate our way across. We just end up filling in or something later. Riveting sandstone placement. You guys are witnessing firsthand the wonderful beauty that will become our biome. Someday people are going to be like, man, how did you get that in your hardcore world? That's so cool. Oh, check it out. I'm be like, man, those people that were around for, what, episode 19, maybe? They're the ones. Alright, now, I think one more, right? You totally can't tell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now we need to have both of these and oh, by the way, if this doesn't work out right, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna have enough. We should, right? Because it's the length of a field and we got all these other sandstones in the middle. Go. Sorry, this is a little slow, but you gotta hang out on the edge to place them. Boom. Getting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess we could get that iron down there. I'm just kidding. We won't do extra mining as we're trying to get this unexpected project done. But we could if we wanted to. We could go down there. Well, any further iron we need, we can get out of the ravine. Either ravine, we got a couple of them to choose from. Boom. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. And again, maybe this would have been the place to put the other type of block in my offhand, but that reminds me, before we jump down, we'll run back along and put some torches up on top of these, top of each of the central pillars, maybe, just to keep this from becoming a little farm of its own. Oh. I don't know why I felt the need to go back over to my torch thing when I've got them here in my offhand by design, but I did. Okay, so next phase to make this now look awesome, I think, is boom, 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 boom. Oh, dumb. Ah, dumb. Click, 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 click. Sometime. Come on. It's the offhand torches. Gives you a lot more respect, you know. And I have used them to degrees over the course of my Minecraft, but you know, it gives you a lot more respect. Some of the people I see that use torches in their offhand all the time in building and don't encounter all this kind of stuff. Maybe they do and they just outgrow it. I don't know, but I've seen people that don't seem to struggle nearly as much with that as I do. But again, maybe it's because I just don't practice it much. And if I put the time in, here, man, we're gonna make some progress. Do we want to be up to or above that level? Let's start there. See how we come out. No, I get it. Yeah. Of course, I start on this side, so I'll always have to run around the wall more to get to my chickens and cows. Yeah, I just wanted to. I had this smooth sandstone in my hands. Let's do this side. This is one that we don't use as often, and would be nice to get done. All right, 1, 2, 3. I don't know why we felt torch right there at our door was the best. So then, you know, maybe an outward rampart. Because what I'm thinking, I don't have all the tools. As much as I am happy to get this going again, I do totally not working on the bees. The bees are what we're working on right now. It's like, oh yeah, I got smooth sandstone in my hand and I haven't used it yet. Let's do it. But that at least gets us up. Now again, these may get filled in. I think I'd like that to have big thick walls, and part of that can become our rampart itself. But we may have some overhang areas along the way as well. I don't know. These kind of bug me, and I think even here for our gate, you know, where visitors and things would come up, I think maybe even in the midst of the foundations, since this is kind of the impressive entry point, you would use the nicer stone, right? And this was what I was talking about, that, you know, maybe we don't just have everything be the rough, you know, give it more of a feel that there are points where the kind of foundation of the walls is exposed and sticking up, but then there's others where it's less so. I don't know. You know, maybe now we got some of this back, so maybe in a corner we, oh, that probably broke torches. Of course it did. Oh, I don't want that. I wanted that to look cool where it was kind of rising up in the corner, but I don't want the inside of my place to be all. Well, maybe I do. It's not going to be our home forever, right? That's just the. Oh, that's not a torch. But I got ready torches like that. Ha ha ha. All right, a little progress. Got a bed right here. Can sleep in. Again, just using up some of what we have now. I don't want this to be too patterny, right? I'd rather have it, you know, just here and there. You know, it can be wider in some areas than others, but it's that inconsistency that I'm actually kind of going for on those. How far will this get us? And I can at least go boom. And not quite enough. Oh, something like that. We still got a little. Oh, did it again. Still got a little bit of access in between here, and I would like to make this something decorative and impressive eventually. And again, we've talked about maybe we have just minor semicircular kind of towers or bastions sticking out here where people could look down on the entrance and have a little bit of angle at them. But at least, it's beginning. We have a little bit more wall. All right, what were we doing in our bees? Next up, let's get all the bottom done. I don't know how many of these we're going to need. That'll probably be more than enough. Now let's put those away so they don't get accidentally used. $42? It's either a good start or not way too many. Oh. Again. Trying to adapt. So ingrained. Number 3 is torches, and I just, my fingers do what they want. Okay, sun's up high. So, fires are an important part of beekeeping, and they'll cover up our dirt so we didn't have to do more of any of that. The iron will be under fire and long forgotten. By the time all is said and done, there it goes. My iron. It's kind of like our secret chest. Man, we needed a ton of these guys. So we need a dozen more. I think that's what 6 and 6 is, right? Let them burn for now, but we will primarily keep those out. And campfires won't burn up. They can burn you, so be careful of them. And they seem to be able to burn the bees as well. So be careful as we'll get to that when we actually get to the beekeeping part of the bees. You don't want to lose your bees and let them get cooked up in the fire. So do be careful. But I'll gladly show all that in a bit. So, yeah, the campfires and the smoke functionality that the game introduced in the bee update was pretty cool. Not only will we needed pretty much everything but coal. We just used up. So. And we took all our sticks, so let's do a full another batch. Of course, dark oak is the toughest to see. Let's campfire first, and that's way more than we need. But you can always just, least of the material, so you can always easily set what. You need. Now we're going to be long on most everything supply-wise. Logs will go back in. Those get combined. It doesn't hurt to free up some of that coal. Again, as much as we'd like to use it for the furnaces, it's also a good storage mechanism. And again, we by quarrying sandstone, we're saving ourselves from a lot of time waiting on furnace cooks to complete. Now the only problem is we got way too many torches, we got way too many sticks, and we have enough torches, so we don't need to make more. Okay, so next up, we'll have to go shovels and picks again. Let's check their time. 10 minutes. So we won't be able to really set up the non-housing part of the bees, but we can get the fires, get the initial nests up, let them get freed back up, and we'll put them down at this end, and can get some flowers out there for them before we wrap up here today. So last of our fires in. Then shovel is how you put out your fires. And that's a right click with the shovel to put them out. So kind of the right click with torches in hands. I'm like, did I break something? The nice thing about stop. Hey, missed one. About having this arrangement, and I don't know. Maybe this is just intuitive and everybody's done it. I haven't really seen bee farms set up this particular way by anyone, but I kind of just arrived at it in setting a row of the fires allows you access through it back and forth. The long length allows for lots of bees and spreads them out along your the edge of your field, so you get lots of coverage. Now, I think to get the best of all worlds, we're gonna start here. And this time, usually I'll have 5, and I'll put a bee nest, so these are the natural ones, in the middle, and the bees can go through, and then we're going to fill in with bee houses or hives, whatever they call them in the game, once we have the materials. So here at least, we'll start out the pattern. Now, before we waste much time, let's go ahead and get out some flowers. Let's just stop the insanity for a second. So I don't know where the others have gone. They must still be sleeping. That's okay. And we're going to spread this. Now, we're going to take back this hill quite a bit, and I'm going to make kind of an elaborate flower area in all this. Our stables and stuff will still be back here. But just to get them started, I want to have lots of flowers, so they don't have to go hunting around. They're gonna be able to come out on this side, find lots of flowers, come get some pollen, and then once they're pollen, and you see the little spots on their butts that say that they've already found a flower, then they'll just go bopping around, and they should cut back over to the crops, and they'll spread that pollen, and effectively that's when they're... So that must have been a third bee. I don't know what happened to the other. There, little baby bee. Hey, baby bee. Hi, buddy. So I apologize. If we've already done all this and I've somehow just spaced it, I'm sorry. not my intent, but you know, I want bees. They're a big part of the operation here, and their produce is secondary for me, really, to getting the kind of automated bone mealing of my crops. So you can see here this. Oh, I thought he was going back over, but they should they should bop around a little bit and then eventually head over to the crops and start spreading out that. Well, now we need one more tool, and I'll kind of load up tools for the bees. I put a couple chests there. One, I'm gonna just when I think about it when I'm out, once we get shulkers and stuff, if we find wide-ranging flower forests and things, we're going to kind of jam our pockets and bring those back. We can also use bone meal to just spawn flowers and harvest them that way, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But we and let's since we have so many, let's take over planks, and we'll actually. It's good to have a workbench, I think, over in the kind of the field slash bee area. We won't use it much once everything's up and going, but if you need to repair a tool or whatever, it's nice just to have one around. You don't have to wander back and forth. So yeah, maybe we'll drop it in the corner here. Just out of the way, not bothering anybody. So now our bees, with all the flowers, have got all three of these bee nests going with. We need flint and steel too, because we got to relight the fires. Oops. I'm glad we got those couple of flint while we were cleaning. We threw those in the toolbox. Well, that's handy. If we now made all our arrows and had no flint and had to go digging gravel, you guys would be in riot mode, just not having it. But fortunately, crisis averted. And we'll take two over there. You can imagine when some of these things don't have a whole lot of durability. Shears or and bottles will become a deal. I wonder how much glass we have. We should make some bottles too, so I can show you all this stuff here. Again, we're very late on time. We'll maybe do bottled honey in a second or in another episode, but let's show how we do this. So we light the fire. The smoke goes up. The bees will now not get upset. They're docile, so we can get the contents of the hive without them getting mad. If you just go hit the hive, then you anger the bees, and they'll come after you. And they won't. It's kind of like llamas spitting. They won't do a ton of damage, but the worst thing, and this is another reason why I don't like thorns. I've talked about the thorns enchant and why I don't like it. If your bees get angered and come after you, you may not hit them, but if they bop you, effectively sting, that's the kind of the game mechanic. They just bump into you and sting you, then your thorns will reverse, and they're bees. They have no real durability, so then they're done, right? It's over. So we don't want our bees to be in that situation. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like. Okay, so they're hives, not houses, and I'll try to say that. I don't know why I thought bee house was a deal, but it is. So now we can continue to breed our bees, and again, 3 is the max on the nests, and we'll kind of spread these out. But because these are finite, you got to hide them or find them around the world. It's kind of nice ongoing, but we'll try to keep that pattern, and so we'll need how many of these there are? 7. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 7, 8. I mean, it's got to be an odd number, right? This is the. I don't even know what the middle one is. 9. Oh man, so we gotta get 15 more bee nests in the course of this world to fill this out. But in between, we can load in all these beehives that we've constructed, and they'll, as you breed more, they'll fill those in, and they can each hold 3 bees too. So eventually, you can have a whole bunch of bees spreading around, and you'll see which ones need more, how many more bees you need, because some will drip honey when they've got resident bees and are full. Others won't drip any, and you'll know, hey, I got to breed some more to fill in. So yeah, that's it. We now have the power of bees at hand. As you saw, the shears, and we're going to do the switcheroo here. So we want to keep these, and all these shears here, and we'll probably use up the shovels. I kind of cheated. I don't want to talk to you, but we gotta move all this back. So on this side, we don't want flowers, and we kind of want to get more stone down. We don't want this to be dirt, because in breeding the bees, we'll just be running around with a handful of flowers trying to hit all the bees, and there'll be loads of them all swarming around us. So getting this to stone and having this side, and we may push this back one more just so we're not totally cramped on this side, but then we'll kind of do a flower garden layout out here so that all these bees have lots. When they wake up, they come out, they go over, they don't have to travel far before they ever have to wander around. They're going to find flower, good, happy, and then they'll be all pollinated. They'll go over, help our crops, and make us honey. So win, 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 win. All very good stuff. I don't know. In the next one, we've now got so many possibilities. I don't know what we're going to do next. But I'm glad we got a little bit of our wall done. Ha ha ha, look at us. We are on our wall. Let's save it right there. This is stand up for equality in your community, and we are doing that on top of our wall. I guess walls don't really portray that sense of openness in a community, but we're standing up, we're proudly on top of a wall, and despite it being a wall, we're talking about equality. Everybody's got value in our community. Well, I couldn't agree with that more. I think you need to make your voice heard. If you see somebody mistreated, or somebody, whether it's bullying or if it's any of the racial type stuff, certainly. But if you see people being treated, your conscience is gonna flare up. If something is mean spirited or unjust or unfair or picking on someone for something that if it's correcting bad behavior or something like that, that's different. But if it's if it's just mean spirited and cutting somebody down, be that person that's unafraid to step in and go, hey, I may not know who this person is, but it really seems like they don't deserve what you're giving them, and be an unexpected friend to somebody. That's going to be our wrap up. I always like to tell you guys to go outside and enjoy, but be an unexpected friend. Find that random chance and go insert yourself. I am going to try to come back. I'm going to take a very quick break. I do want to get up and move around and get some blood pumping, but with commitment later in the afternoon, I'm a little pinched into a time window, and so I don't want to linger. So I'll be back very shortly in my world, and in whatever amount of time you want to take. So take care of yourselves. Do get outside, but while you're out there, if you can be an unexpected friend to someone, give it a shot. It can be a highlight and change your life. All right, for now, and as always, I want to thank you all so much for coming. Do take care with yourselves and one another, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.